In the quiet corner of an old farmhouse, a small and mischievous mouse named Silly lived with his large family. Silly was aptly named for his knack of turning even the simplest tasks into comical adventures. From the crack of dawn to the hush of night, Silly's antics kept everyone amused. One crisp morning, Silly decided he wanted to explore the world beyond the pantry. He scampered up to the kitchen, lured by the rich aroma of cheese. With his tiny heart pounding with excitement, Silly peeked out from behind a wooden cabinet. The coast was clear. He dashed towards the kitchen counter, his eyes locked on a large, tantalizing chunk of cheese perched on a plate. Just as he reached the counter, Silly noticed a shiny, metal contraption next to the cheese. "What's this?" he thought, poking his nose closer. It was a mousetrap, but Silly, in his usual carefree manner, saw it as a new toy. He pushed the cheese off the trap, carefully balancing it on his head. Success! He squeaked, thrilled by his cleverness. He proudly carried the cheese back to the pantry, wobbling under its weight. His siblings gathered around, their eyes wide with admiration. "Look at what Silly brought," they cheered, patting him on the back. Silly, however, was not done for the day. He was brimming with more ideas and mischief. Next, he decided to explore the living room. The humans had left a puzzle on the floor, half finished. Silly tiptoed towards it, intrigued by the colorful pieces. With a flick of his tail, he began to move the pieces around. After a few moments, Silly managed to fit a piece perfectly into place. "I'm a puzzle master," he declared as his siblings peeked around the corner, giggling at his enthusiasm. In his final adventure of the day, Silly ventured into the garden. There, he found a line of ants marching diligently towards a crumb of bread. Silly watched, fascinated, as the ants worked together. He decided to help them out. Using his tiny paws, he nudged the crumb closer to their anthill. The ants, initially startled, soon accepted his assistance. They swarmed around him, a parade of tiny, grateful creatures. As the sun set, Silly returned to the farmhouse, exhausted but happy. His family gathered around to hear about his adventures. They laughed at his encounters with the mousetrap, marveled at his puzzle-solving skills, and smiled at his kindness towards the ants. Silly curled up in his little nest, a contented smile on his face. He knew that tomorrow would bring new adventures, and he was ready for whatever came his way. After all, being a silly mouse was not just his name, it was his way of life.